Now we are going to do practice lab 1 data modeling. So let's take a look on the scenario. So a regional building department issues and track the permits for new building and updates for remodeling. Okay, remodeling the existing building. Throughout this course, we are going to build applications that will help tracking these issues and permits, and also perform automations to enable regional building department to manage the permitting process. This will be end-to-end solutions, will help us understand overall process flow for Power Apps. Now in this lab, first, the requirement is we need to track the status of permits issued for new buildings and also existing building modifications. The requirement 2, permits are associated with build site, which represent the building or land being modified. Requirement 3, the permit type indicates the type of permits and inspections. Other data that might be required on permit as well. Okay. And requirement 4, inspections completed on permit work are to be tracked for entire process. So that is from request of inspections to whether it pass or fail the inspections. Requirement 5, permits for the lab purposes are requested by a person, and we need to track who requested for each permit. So the high level step is as follows. We are going to prepare the learning environment. We are going to create a solutions. Solutions is the package where we can specify who created or who published these solutions, and inside the solutions will be your apps, okay, all the choice data type, for example, all tables and columns, entities, and so on, forms and view, all are packaged into the solutions. Later, you are going to create a publisher, which usually is your name or your company name, and attach it to this solution. So these solutions will be listed as you as a publisher or your company as a publisher. Now we add new and existing components that are necessary to meet the application's requirement inside the solutions. Now the lab also prepare the data model and metadata PDF documents, okay, that refer to the design of data modeling. So later what we are going to do is we are going to create a table, actually more than one tables, called permit table, permit type table, inspections table, build site table, and also a couple of other like custom entities. Okay, but for now we are also going to import the existing table called contact and another existing table called user. Now for the common data model entity, it looks like that. Now common data model entity, for example, contact, account, user, this already exists in Dataverse. Dataverse built based on the common data model entities. So previously Dataverse is called CDS, Common Data Service. Okay. So there are a couple of entities, or in other words table, already exist in the common data model. Okay, for example, in this case we are going to import contact and user. Now other custom entity, okay, so you can think of it this way. Entity is a table, so you're going to create multiple entities or multiple tables. Each of the table have columns, so those columns sometimes is called field. Now we are going to create entity or table called permit. The column or field name are as follow. The column name, start date, expiration date, and new size. Now the data type of this column is a text. Start date is date, of course, expiration date is date data type, new size is a number. And you can put some comments for each entity, each table as well. This column is a primary column, primary field. Start date, we have to make it required, so it means this start date cannot be left blank. There's a couple of other columns: status reason, contact, bill site, permit type. And status reason is an option set. Option set is the list. For example, you can create the list that consists of active, log, completed, cancel, expired. So you can input all these inside the list in the option set. So this is a data type. There are a lot of built-in option sets already in the common data model. For example, yes or no, female and male and female, and so on. So we are going to create our own option set. You are going to link it to the contact. Okay, so since contact is another table, it is a lookup. And bill site is another table as well. This is a lookup column, and another lookup column that can look up to permit type. So you can see here, permit table have a couple of columns, and some of the column is a lookup column to the contact, to the user, okay, permit type, and bill site. Now permit type, these are the columns. Bill site, these are the columns, okay, and inspection, these are the columns. So now we are ready to create our tables and columns. Each of the lab consists of two folders. One is a starter folder, where you can import the starter folder if you cannot complete the previous exercise, and the completed. So once you complete all the steps in the lab, the result should be the same as the one in the completed. So if you want, you can import the completed and compare it with your what you have done in the exercise. So if you notice, yeah, starter and completed. This is what we call a solutions folder. Solutions folder is in the form of zip file. If someone already created a solutions and asked you to import it in your own environment, for example, you can just import the zip file. So we are going to see later on, we are going to import this particular zip file, which is actually a solutions file, into our environment. Okay. Now, or if you already completed your exercise and you want to share it with other users, for example, you can actually export all the applications, all the things that you have made into a solutions as well. Once you export, it will look something like this as a zip file. Now, the next step of exercise is make sure your environment is the environment that you created just now. Okay, let's say call EW development, okay, or whatever your initial development. And after that, we are going to create tables. Okay, but before you create tables, make sure you point to the specific solutions first. Okay, so if you want to browse around, take a look on the existing table. If you go to the table, these are the existing table inside the common data model. Okay, so for example, account, address, all those tables already exist in your Dataverse. Now, let's go to the solutions. Best practice is to create a solutions folder and put all your applications, all your work, all your entities and columns inside the solutions. Okay, so you can create your own solutions. Create new solutions here. Give some meaningful name for the solutions. Let's say called permit management, and then a publisher. So if you click the drop down menu here, Microsoft already provided you with the default publisher. If you want to, you can use the default publisher, but if you want to create your own publisher, click the new publisher. So maybe your own name or your company name. So it's like a signature that this solution is actually published by a certain person or a company. Okay, so in this case, let's say we are going to write our company name. Let's say you work for Contoso. Okay, you can put some descriptions over there. For example, yeah, any prefix. So this is optional. For example, whatever that you put in the prefix here will be the prefix of all the object that you created. It means including table, columns, okay, and any other object. So for example, later on you're going to create a table called permit type or permit. So the name of the table itself will always start with whatever prefix that you write here. For example, if I write Ellie, all the tables will start with the prefix Ellie underscore. Now you can, this is the example, okay, the preview how it looks like. Let's say you just want to use Contoso. Okay, so Contoso underscore whatever the object that you created. For example, a table called permit. So Contoso underscore permit will be the name of your table permit. Okay, so this is optional. Okay, you are required to fill in something. The one that's optional is to put the Contoso. Okay, so you can put something else, for example, your name. After that, leave the choice value prefix as it is. Now this one later on for your option set, the option set will always start with this number. Okay, so if you want to leave it as it is, just leave it as it is. Okay, so that your prefix set is always started with this number. And save. Now we are going to select the publisher that you have created and leave the versions as 1.000, and it's created. So now solutions is ready for you to create an object inside, for example, tables. So we are going to create a couple of tables there. Now let's say we want to input the informations about our customer. By default, Common Data Model or Dataverse already have the table for customer. It is called contact. So you can click add existing table and search contact. Now if you would like to, you can include all objects that are related with contacts, whether it's account, appointment, task, etc. So you can tick include all objects. Okay, also it will include all the table metadata. Now let's say you want to import this contact table, but you want just a simple contact table with a selected object. So you can click select object instead. So these are the columns inside that existing table contact and the relationship that it has with other tables, the business rule that it has, if any, view, which is a filter, forms, dashboard, etc. Now let's say we want the contact table with a simple view, which is active contact view. That's it. So add active contact, and then you're going to add forms as well. So the existing form, we are going to add the main form. And that's it. So what you're doing right now is you're importing the table called contact, the existing table. Now let's say you don't want any of the columns and any you only want specific informations when you import this table. So notice when you open the contact table, okay, the forms that you have imported is there together, and you also import the filter, which is the view. When you go to view, notice this active contact that you imported together. Now let's take a look on the column itself. See, the columns are only okay, so the columns include all the columns. Okay, not all the columns. So the columns currently display only a couple of columns. Okay, but the other column exists there where you can display it if you would like to. Now, okay, so what you have done, you have imported a table with all the columns, and you don't import other object except the form, main form, and a filter, okay, which is the view. View is actually a filter. So you import one filter of view called active contact. Okay. Now we are going to do similar thing for another table. We are going to add existing table called user. I'll just type user there. Search. This is the user table that you want to import. Next. Now, if you want all the objects of the user, you can include all object, or if it is only specific object that you import together, that you want to import together with the table, again you can click select object. Now in this case, we just want the table. We don't want any view, any forms. Okay, so just the table only. So add. Okay, now if you see your user table, you have all the columns from the table. But you don't import any forms, empty. You didn't import any view either. Why? Because we only need the user table to store our user. Okay, so for example, the mod administrator and all the built-in user that Power BI, the Dataverse Common Data Service have inside. Okay, so these are all the built-in user, we call it service account. Okay, so these are all the service account, and also our account will be listed there. All the user account will be listed in here. Okay, you see the mod administrator. Now so this one's done. So we have imported two tables. Now we are going to create our own custom table. So instead of add existing, now we are going to create our new table